sometimes that is better.
Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of Digital Fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn. Today's deck is another crazy brew coming out of early access for Modern Horizons 3. This is another timeless brew, and it's kind of wild. This one's called Victimize, and the idea behind this is we're abusing new cards like Chthonian Nightmare and the new Grist that can change into a Planeswalker. And we're using it with a lot of graveyard antics and all of the ridiculous black stuff that typically comes along with timeless decks like Dark Ritual and Necropotence. And just pushing this deck to the max. It's kind of insane the absolute gross stuff you can do by looping graveyard recursion with just the right cards. I'm getting ahead of myself though. Before we break down the deck, make sure you like the video if you haven't already. It's you guys liking each and every video that have helped this channel to grow so quickly. So thank you so much to everyone that's done that. Please like the video. It just helps this get out to so many more viewers and it means a lot to me. Also subscribe if you're new because I have a ton more deck techs coming. So much crazy content on the way. Some of which I can't tell you about just yet, but you'll see. It's going to be pretty wild. Also, catch me live Monday through Friday over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/quarantinecapricorn, because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. Now let's break down this deck. Alright, so this deck is absolutely absurd. I fell in love with it. I iterated on it a bit throughout the day, so if you see a couple of changes, it's because we just kept finding better things to do, more synergies, and it was kind of wild. So we're going to go over the new cards, and then we're going to start at the bottom of the curve. First of all, Grist, Voracious Larva. 1/2 Death Touch for 1 green. And whenever it enters from the graveyard, you can pay 1 green. It or another creature enters from the graveyard, you can pay 1 green. And if you do, you get to exile Grist, and then return it to the battlefield as Grist the Plague Swarm, a Planeswalker. 3 loyalty, it can uptick to make a 1/1 black and green insect while also milling you 2 cards. And you put a death touch counter on the token if a black card was milled this way. You can -2 to destroy target artifact or enchantment, which is really, really important in the timeless format because of crazy things like Necropotence and Simulacrum Synthesizer all over the place. And then if you happen to get to the ultimate, you can -6 for each creature card in your graveyard, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 1/1 black and green insect. Now, what makes this card so gnarly is the fact that we can keep down-ticking it, running it out of loyalty, putting it back in the grave, and then bringing it back into play with some of the other cards that we're running, and we'll get to that in just a little bit, but we can get these cycles going that are just absolutely nuts. The next card I want to talk about is Chthonian Nightmare. This is basically the return of Reoccurring Nightmare, which was one of my favorite cards. The Reoccurring Nightmare Survival of the Fittest deck from back in the day was one of my favorite decks of all time, and I absolutely adore this new card, so I'm super stoked about it. And it worked out really well. 1 black and 1 for an enchantment. When it enters, you get 3 energy, and then you can pay any amount of energy and sacrifice a creature to return Chthonian Nightmare to its owner's hand, and return a creature card with mana value equal to the amount of energy you paid from your graveyard to the battlefield. So we can do some crazy things like constantly just pay 1 energy to cycle 1-drops back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. All the while, when we're replaying Chthonian Nightmare for 2 mana, we're getting another 3 energy. So if we do it that way, we can build up a large pool of energy over the course of a couple turns, and then get something really, really big back. Or we could just get value off of cycling small stuff constantly back from our graveyard, which gets really, really absurd. You'll see in the games. We've also got 4 copies of Victimize, 1 black and 2 for a sorcery. Choose 2 target creature cards in your graveyard. Sack a creature. If you do, return the chosen cards to the battlefield tapped. Not only does this give us another way to get back a Grist and something else, it gives us a sacrifice outlet for certain things we want to put in the graveyard, like maybe we have a Grist in play, we need it in the graveyard so we can bring it back with something later to have it flip into the Planeswalker. This gives us a sack outlet. Chthonian Nightmare is also a sack outlet that works that way as well, which is really nice. But what's important about Victimize is this will let us get out some of our bigger plays much earlier. We don't have to build up the energy like we do with Chthonian Nightmare. We can just sack a little dude, get 2 bangers onto the board immediately, and just go ham on the opponent, which can be absolutely nuts. So let's start at the bottom of the curve and talk about all of the ways in which these cards are just insanely synergistic with everything that we're doing. So obviously we're running 4 Dark Rituals. This is timeless. We're going to ramp to high heaven. We're going to do everything 2 turns earlier than we should be doing it, right? We've also got 4 Stitcher's Supplier, because when it enters and when it dies, we get to mill 3 cards. We get to fill up our graveyard for all of our graveyard shenanigans with the Chthonian Nightmare and the Victimize and the Grist and all of these things. But what's cool about the Supplier is it does give us a sack outlet to sack to the Chthonian Nightmare and to the Victimize. That's going to get us additional value when it dies, while also doing the thing we want to do with those cards, which is really nice. We've also got 4 Deathrite Shaman. This is a way for us to ramp even more mana, do stuff with the deck even earlier by using the first ability, which can tap and exile a land from a graveyard to add 1 mana of any color. Now we can exile some of the lands we're self-milling. Sometimes we can exile our sack fetch lands to get that mana as well. And a lot of times, since in Timeless pretty much everybody's using fetch lands, our opponent will have lands in their graveyard and we can just yoink their lands and get mana as well. So really good card for that reason. We do pay a lot of life out in this deck. So pay 1 green, tap, exile a creature card from a graveyard, gain 2 life sometimes matter when we need to gas up with just a bit more life so that maybe we can draw more cards. I'll get to that in just a little bit. We can also pay 1 black, tap it, exile an instant or sorcery to make each opponent lose 2 life. So if our opponent's close to dead, we can kill them. This kind of just does everything. It's a really good mana dork on 1 for this deck in particular because we always have stuff in the graveyard. We're absolutely jamming 4 copies. Next up, we've got Jet Collector. This is another really important card in the deck. 2 mana for a Merfolk Scout. It's a 2/2. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, if 4 or more cards are in your graveyard, you conjure a card named Mox Jet into your hand. This ability triggers only once. So we fill up the graveyard so fast here that we're almost always getting a Mox Jet really early and able to ramp with it, which is helping us do everything else so much sooner, just like all of the other cards we're ramping with. But then we also have this ability for 1 black and X, put target creature card with mana value X from your graveyard onto the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Activate only as a sorcery. So for just 2 mana, we can get back a 1-drop. Granted, it has a finality counter, so if it dies, we can't continue to get it back. But a way to get around this is with Grist, because as soon as Grist comes back, if we have the extra green mana to pay for, we can flip Grist into the Planeswalker, and when it becomes the Planeswalker, it gets exiled and returns to the battlefield, and so the finality counter actually drops off, which means that's why the Planeswalker version of Grist can just go back to the graveyard and then come back out with Jet Collector, and we can just keep doing that over and over and over again, which kind of breaks Jet Collector. You're not supposed to be able to do that. It's supposed to come back with the finality counter and kind of stop the cycle, but we can just keep doing it over and over and over just because of the nature of Grist and how it becomes exiled and becomes the Planeswalker, and that counter falls off. So not only can we get back any of our 1-drops we might need, re-trigger our Stitcher's Supplier, get a Deathrite Shaman, whatever, sometimes we can use Jet Collector to get back another Jet Collector and just keep kind of going crazy with it. Get more Mox Jets, that sort of thing, but very, very good with Grist. Absolutely insane with Grist. We're also running 1 Demonic Tutor, because it's Demonic Tutor. It is restricted in Timeless, but it is so good we're going to run the 1 copy. Same thing with Channel. 2 mana, we can just pay as much life as we want to make colorless mana. This gives us another way of not necessarily needing to get things out of the graveyard, some of our big hits that we want to return from the graveyard. Sometimes if we just have Channel, we can just make a bunch of mana and just do it straight from our hand. We've also got 4 copies of Necropotence because the card is insane. It allows us to gas up with all of the things that we need to go off, and a lot of times we're going to draw into some of our ramp as well, so we can just completely vomit out everything we draw into and go nuts. This is another reason I was bringing up earlier that sometimes we need some of that incidental life gain. We have access to that through Deathrite Shaman and through a couple other cards. So that can be really important sometimes to just maybe get a little bit more life that we can use to draw more cards with the Necropotence. Sometimes that can be really important. But then our big hits, we've got 4 Vein Rippers. 6/5 flying, ward, sacrifice a creature. Whenever a creature dies, target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So we get Chthonian Nightmare down a couple times, or we just have a Vein Ripper in our graveyard and something to stack to Victimize. Either way, now all of a sudden we can bring back the Vein Ripper way earlier than we should probably have it. And now when we start sacrificing all of our stuff and bringing stuff back from the graveyard, it's just triggering the Vein Ripper over and over and slowly just burning out our opponent to death, which can be absolutely bananas. But also this is a way to gain back life as well, to gas back up again so we can put more life into Necropotence and into some of our other cards. So that's a super, super important part of this card, and it's the reason it's the primary big hit for our recursion. But then in addition to Vein Ripper, we are going to run just 1 Crick because we have ways of gaining a bunch of incidental life in certain situations. We can sometimes just play out a bunch of cards that we otherwise might not be able to play out by using Crick's ability to basically turn all of our black mana symbols into Phyrexian mana. This is a 2/2 lifelink for 7 mana, 3 black and 4, but the 3 black is Phyrexian hybrid, so we could just pay 6 life and 4 mana and get this down from our hand, but it's usually better to grab this from the graveyard, get it into play, and then use its ability to maybe pay some life to play more spells than we otherwise could. Every time we play a black spell while he's on the battlefield, he gets a +1/+1 counter, and then he has lifelink, so he can swing, get us back some of that life, or maybe block an important attack and get us back some of that life, and it's another way to kind of refuel and reuse our Necropotence and that sort of thing. So another really important hit. And then we've also got 1 copy of Griselbrand, because we can pay 7 life to draw 7 cards if we have it on the battlefield. So it's kind of like a Necropotence stacked onto a creature in a way. And that's really good, but it also has flying and lifelink, so it is another way to kind of gain back the life, and then if we want to use that life to draw even more cards and gas up, we can. But just 1 Griselbrand, 1 Crick, and 4 Vein Rippers are our only top end, and really that's all we need. We sometimes don't even need to get one of these 6 big things into play to win. We can just go kinda crazy with cycling out all of the smaller creatures and creating a ton of value, creating a bunch of 1/1 insects with Death Touch with Grist that can just swarm our opponent and win that way. There's a lot of subtle ways that we can just get through and just close out the game, and the deck's kind of insane. The land is very specific. We've got 4 Verdant Catacombs, 1 Polluted Delta, 1 Bloodstained Mire. That's 6 fetch lands. That's just enough that we're not paying too much life, but we are putting some lands into our graveyard for Deathrite Shaman, which is important, and to just get to 4 sooner for Jet Collector to go off. And then we've got 4 Woodland Cemeteries, because we're almost always going to have a swamp or a forest, because we're fetching a swamp or a forest with these fetch lands. 1 Underground Mortuary, because in the right circumstances, we can search this up with a fetch land to surveil if we just need 1 more card in the graveyard. So I am going to include 1 of these so that we can search up. I think it's worth it. It does enter the battlefield tapped, so we don't want to go too crazy with them. But having the 1 as an option to search up, I think is really good. And then, of course, 4 Overgrown Tombs. They are shock lands. We do have to pay 2 life to have them enter untapped, but they can enter untapped. They're like the only dual land that can enter untapped under certain circumstances that we can also fetch with our fetch lands. So really, really important to have 4 of those. And then we're running just 1 Deathcap Glade as another dually, 1 forest and 1 swamp if we absolutely need to fetch a land and don't want to pay 3 total life to just have it come into play untapped. We can fetch 1 of our basics here, and sometimes that's really, really important. And then the last 2 cards I want to talk about really quick. We have 1 Disciple of Freyalise, which is another new card. 3 green and 3 for a 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, you may sack another creature. If you do, you gain X life and draw X cards, where X is that creature's power. So this gives us a way to gas up on cards, refuel our life, and We can have a sack outlet if we need something in the graveyard or if we need to trigger our Vein Ripper. It just does a lot that we want to do. That being said, it is pretty expensive, so we are just going to run one. We can grab it as a tutor target, or we can, like with the Demonic Tutor, or we can bring it back out of the graveyard with one of our Reanimator spells. So I think one is absolutely worth the inclusion. I'm tempted to go more because I think it might be a really good card in this deck in particular, but we went with one, and I stand by it for now. And then the last card is Agadeem's Awakening, another land. We can slot it into our mana base, and then we can pay 3 black and X to return any number of target creature cards that have mana value X or less to the battlefield. That have a different mana value, right? So we can get 1 drop, 1 2 drop, 1 3 drop, all the way up to X, whatever X is. So that can be really important. What's important to note about these is they slot into our mana base, so these would otherwise have to be other lands in order to have enough lands in the deck, but we're able to kind of hedge our bets, get a little bit of extra value into the deck by replacing a couple lands with these cards and just have that much more gas, which is really important. But overall, the deck's just nuts. Chthonian Nightmare, man. This card is bananas. Grist is bananas. Welcome to the new meta. Let's check out the games. I don't know if we bothered a Dark Ritual yet, though. I don't think we do. We'll fetch an Overgrown Tomb. And we'll play a Deathrite Shaman. And we'll play some Stitcher's Suppliers. We'll just hit for 1. Dark Ritual, Agadeem's Awakening gets us Grist and the Jet Collector, and then we're off to the races. Plays the Synthesizer, sure. Plays a Bauble. Alright. I mean, I guess we'll just play a Forest then. Full control. You know what, let's just do it now. So we don't screw it up. Let's just do it now. We're gonna make the green. We're gonna auto pay. There we go. Destroy the Synthesizer. Get out of here. And we'll swing 2 because we can. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Mox Jet. Coming down. Pass the turn. This deck's fun. Plays a Bauble, plays a land. He's got 2 cards left. Thought Monitor. He's gonna have to tap all 4 of his lands to play it. Mox Amber. Alright. Kinda running out of gas. We can bring back a Deathrite Shaman. Mill 2 cards. Let's see if we can get something better to bring back. A Griselbrand. that would be something. Five total mana. We don't have enough for Griselbrand. 6 total mana. We need 2 more. Right? 2 more. So we can bring back 7. We're one away from Crick. We're 1 away from Crick. Do we bring back the Deathrite Shaman? Maybe? I mean, might as well. That gives us mana next turn, right? I don't really want to swing with the damn Jet Collector. Let's just swing in with the Stitcher's Suppliers. He's going to kill Grist next turn, but we can just bring it back, so whatever. Alright, end the turn. We can use Deathrite Shaman to either make him lose 2 or make us gain 2. Can also just exile something from the graveyard if we don't want him to get some kind of a value off of it. Either way. Snare Prototype. Mere Enforcer, sure. Pass to attackers. It's gonna kill Grist.
Hunger rots in its grave.
We want to gain some life if we can. But there aren't any creatures to exile here, so we're gonna do exile instant or sorcery from a graveyard. We'll get rid of Dark Ritual here. We'll make them lose 2 because it's something. 5, 6, 7, 8. So we could get back Griselbrand. That's probably the play. We could also just get back Grist. Alright, do we have 2 lands to get rid of? We do. Oh, no, we only have 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 then. We only have 7 total mana and we need to pay X plus 1. So we can't actually bring anything back yet. Unfortunately. We're gonna have to do this. Man, Jet Collector with Grist is so good. Do we kill something? Yes. Yes, I believe we do. What the hell just happened? Oh, did I run out? Get out of here. End the turn. We've got plenty of chump blockers. Sure, he can attack the Grist again we can just bring it back again. We've got plenty of land. We're eventually getting to the point where we can bring back Griselbrand. Refill our hand and just go ham. Alright, 𝐀𝐫𝐞𝐧𝑚. So we've got artifacts. We can exile a creature card from his graveyard, the Thought Monitor, to gain some life. Kappa Cannoneer. Well, we're gonna have to kill that, aren't we? Go ahead, kill Grist again. Oh, you don't want to kill Grist? You don't want to kill Grist? Why not? Vein Ripper. Dude. Let's go. We've got one land in there. I think we gotta save it. Do we have any way to sacrifice some of our creatures? We don't, do we? We will mill some stuff, though. Don't have anything we can get back. Let's just swing with the Stitcher Supplier. Hit him for 2. Pass the turn. Alright, so we do have 2 Deathrite Shamans off to the left. One of them has a finality counter on it. Let's keep that in mind. Thought Monitor. Kappa Cannoneer is going to get big pretty quick here. But I don't think it's going to be big enough. We shall see. We shall see. He's definitely got us in 2 turns, but I don't think he's got us this turn. Yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. I don't know why that's happening. Yes. And there's rice waiting for their last meal. Alright. Resolve that. Frogmere Enforcer. I mean, that's a lot. That is an absolute lot. I don't know how he drew so many cards. I guess he went Thought Monitor into Thought Monitor, lucky enough. So we're just gonna have to kinda get there. So now we don't have the life for Griselbrand, which is a super bummer. Get rid of the channel. Make him lose 2. This is kind of crazy. All right, we've got a jet collector. Instants and sorceries in our graveyard are what's gonna deal damage to him. Let's do this. Auto pay. We'll kill the Kappa Cannoneer. I could have probably just killed something else and been fine, to be honest. Jet Collector. Pay 1. Get back Grist. Kill a Thought Monitor. Drain him for another 2. And then we just go for it, baby. If he blocks, things die. And we drain him anyway, right? Wow. Wow. Yeah, this is kind of rough. Let's mulligan it. Alright, this we can keep. And we'll put the Vein Ripper back. We'll start with you. We'll find an Overgrown Tomb. Dark Ritual. Stitcher Supplier. Chthonian Nightmare. And we don't have anything to hit with it. But we may. And what's cool too is the second Chthonian Nightmare is going to give us an additional 3 energy. So that's 6. Not quite enough for Griselbrand, but enough for a Vein Ripper. Do you block? You successfully called my bluff. I almost wonder if we just sack this and target nothing, just to replay it and get more energy. But then we wouldn't have something to sacrifice to get something back later, which is a problem. Alright, here we go. We're drawing 7 cards. We're going to 6. This is it, baby. Obviously, I wouldn't go that low if we were up against some kind of an aggro deck, but he's clearly got a slow deck. I think we can at least survive a turn. We'll draw a new hand of cards. Oh my god. It's all the things we want in the graveyard. Dude, all of them. We don't have enough life to play Crick early anymore. We've got 2 Vein Rippers. Dude, this is wild. Alright, we're playing the forest. We're playing a Deathrite Shaman. We're swinging with Stitcher Supplier. Wait, why can't we play Victimize? Oh, because we only have 1 creature in the yard? I did not realize that's how that worked. Uh-oh. Alright, we should not have attacked with Stitcher Supplier then. End the turn. Well, we got things now, at least. But we are real close. We're living on the edge. Exile target player's graveyard. Oh! That's painful. That is very painful. Why can't we use our abilities? I'm so confused. Exile a creature. This is a creature. Right? We should be able to pay green. Exile that creature. What am I missing? Oh, right, because it has summoning sickness. I'm a dope. Ignore me. Ignore me. Six. We play Vein Ripper. Yeah, this is what we do, I think. Fetch a land. It's gonna be a swamp. Whack. Vein Ripper. We have nothing to target. We have nothing to target, bro. We're down to 2. I'm not going to 1. Just in case he's somehow able to, like, give this guy unblockable or whatever and can get through for the 1. I'm going to stay at 2. But I am going to draw the 1 card. It might be important. It wasn't. I can't believe I was like, why can't I use my shaman? Summoning sickness, ding dong. Haste. Big, hasty, nasty guy. Which is fine. Unless he gives it trample. Sure. Dude, this is so insanely close, though. We need a way to get creatures into the graveyard. We have no way to get this darn Stitcher's Supplier into the graveyard. If we did, it would just snowball into everything we need. 𝐴𝑬𝑴𝑩𝑬𝑳. So we need to exile 𝐴𝑬𝑴𝑩𝑬𝑳 with the Shaman and gain some life. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Bless you, Lord Jesus. You're a saint for that, Strider. A saint! I don't care what they say about you. Do it. Thank God. Thank God. And the snowball begins. We've got things. We've got things to do with stuff. It's a glorious day. We've got one creature in the yard. Do we have a way to get more creatures in the yard? Yes. Chthonian Nightmare. So, we play Grist. We Chthonian Nightmare for 1. Get the Stitcher's Supplier. Sack the Grist. Trigger the Vein Ripper. Put more stuff in the yard. There we go. That's what we needed. That's what we needed. We're gonna go Jet Collector. Next to combat, we're gonna swing with the Vein Ripper. We're gonna drain for 2 again. We're gonna play the Mox Jet. Let's see. We play Chthonian Nightmare. We get 3 more. We go up to 8. We don't have an 8-drop to get back, though. So we're probably just better off using Jet Collector. Bring you back. Auto pay. Make a dude. We got some more stuff. Maybe another Stitcher's Supplier. Bring back the other Stitcher's Supplier. Sack this Stitcher's Supplier. Do some more milling. Do some more milling. We've got 4 energy. We've got another Vein Ripper in there. Hit a land. Make some black. Play another Chthonian Nightmare. Pay 6. Get back the Vein Ripper. Sack a Stitcher's Supplier. Drain for more. And we'll draw a couple lives. We'll go to 10. Just in case. And the turn. And now, by next turn, we pretty much just steamroll, right? We pretty much just steamroll. We have 2 Vein Rippers. We got another one in hand. We've got a million Chthonian Nightmares. We got a Dark Ritual. Like, yeah. Good night. Good night, Striderstone. I love you to pieces, buddy. But it's over! This deck is so cool. I kind of love it. Alright, he's got Dark Ritual. He's got a lot of mana. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Ulamog. I mean, that's the thing you can do. We're at 9 cards left in our deck. But I think that's just it, right? That is just it. That should be 12 damage that we drain for. Holy schmoly. Thank you, Chthonian Nightmare. What a card. What a card, bro. Let's see. Turn 1, Dark Ritual. No, that's not going to do it. So probably just turn 1 Grist. We can keep it, though. No, we're going to have to do... Woodland Cemetery is kind of rough. Gonna have to do it like this. Unfortunately. Verdant Catacombs. I think we'll just fetch this, honestly. Try to save the life. Pay 1 life for a colorless. That's not going to quite do it, is it? We could make a bunch of mana, but we have nothing to get back with it. Let's just swing. At least now we can play the Woodland Cemetery untapped. We can make a bunch of mana, we just don't have anything in the yard. Ugh. And again. And again. So crazy. We have 4 of our mana producers. 4 of our 9 mana producers. And none of our payoffs. So crazy. How does that happen? How do we draw all the cards that we need to pay for our stuff, and none of the stuff that we're gonna use it to pay for? He's doing a whole bunch of stuff. Maybe we need Ripples of Undeath. Well, hey, he's down to 10. So there's that. Did he really just get our Vein Ripper? Are you kidding me? That was the card on top? You feed me all of this junk and then set the top of our deck up to be grabbed by a Tali. Come on, dude. So ridiculous. Patron Wizard. That's a damn good question. I have no idea. He's probably laughing over there. We have all things that are good. Nothing to use them on. Literally nothing to use them on. So ridiculous. I mean, you exile the land, right? No? Patrol. And we can't even play the Necropotence. I mean, I guess we can because of Dark Ritual, right? Alright, we draw 5. We hold back the rest of our dudes as blockers, and we hope to hell we draw something we can use. The 4th Dark Ritual, and another Necropotence, and another Deathrite Shaman. Like, what? What? She's just giving me all the same cards. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. I mean, it doesn't matter. He's steamrolling us with Vein Ripper and a Tali. We're dead this turn, but it's still kind of ridiculous. Dude, just swing. Just freaking swing, man. Not sure why he's running red, though. It is what it is, right? I guess we'll keep 7. Is it more important that we... You know what? We'll do it like this. And then we'll use Deathrite Shaman to play our Jet Collector next turn. If we have to. Grist in the yard. I mean, we're still gonna need another mana, right? Let's get rid of you. Grab a green. Play a Jet Collector. Alright, we need 3 cards in the yard. Stitcher's Supplier is going to do that, which is going to get us our Mox Jet, which is going to set us up for the things that we need to do later. DOS Moon Snare. Alright, so Stitcher Supplier. We're going to swing with the Jet Collector. We're going to get our Mox Jet. Do we have lands in there? We do. So, we tap you. We tap you. Exile you. We activate you for 1. Get the Grist. Auto pay. Get the Grist. Get rid of the Moon Snare prototype. And then play a land. Tapped. And I don't even think we Necropotence yet. We've got plenty of stuff to do. We just Victimize, man. Well, we don't really have anything to grab with the Victimize yet, do we? So maybe we do just play Necropotence. We'll see. Well, we got a Jet Collector and a Chthonian Nightmare. Yeah, I think we'll just Necropotence. One, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. We got a Griselbrand in hand. That's not gonna do what we want. We need you in the graveyard, Griselbrand. Another Simulacrum. We might have to just kill the Construct. No, we'll try to run something into it. New Enforcer. Oh god. Oh god. Okay, so that's definitely how you make Affinity work. That is definitely how you make Affinity work. Good god. That's insane. Let's see, we have at most 6 mana. Kinda have to save everything to block with, right? We have Dark Ritual, so 8 mana. Maybe we can play Griselbrand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Don't have a land to exile, unfortunately. So we can't do it. Not yet. We need to wait a turn. So we're going to go like this. Get rid of you.
More mouths are needed. The fruits of life will be devoured.
Then we're going to go... Victimize. Grab both of these. Sack the Stitcher Supplier. More stuff in the yard. Auto pay. We're gonna move to combat. No attacks. We're gonna get a 𝑀𝑜𝑥 We're gonna play the 𝑀𝑜𝑥. We're gonna Dark Ritual. Victimize, grab these guys. Sack the tapped jet collector. Put more stuff in the yard. -2, kill one of these. Trigger the Vein Ripper. We've got blockers for the 11/11s. Those guys are going to get through. We're going to draw some cards. Alright. End the turn. Let's get all our cards back. We've been doing everything but using our Chthonian Nightmares, which is kind of silly. Hey, there's a Chthonian Nightmare. Now we can start using it. Vein Ripper is out, so we're going to drain for 6 when we block. It is a little risky. If he can remove one blocker, I think we die before any of our other drains happen. He's gonna play Kappa Cannoneer. Might be too little too late though. Like, he definitely has us next turn, he's just got way too much. But I think we got him first. I think Vein Ripper's gonna kill him first. We're gonna drain him for 8 when he swings. And then what? We swing in the air. Dude. Insane. We don't even need the Chthonian Nightmare. Oh my god, dude. We didn't even need to attack with the Vein Ripper either. Post-combat, we get the 𝑀𝑜𝑥, we Chthonian Nightmare, sack more things, get back more things, get more drains. Just crazy. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.